Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost done with the AL East. To get to my Yankees, we have to get through the Baltimore Orioles first. We're going to be traveling to Maryland and talk about this very young, talented team that has so much depth. They had to trade some of it away. And better yet, they didn't get much of anything in return. Worst of all, they could field a AAA All-Star team with major league talent. Any other team, pretty much any other team, their AAA guys would be at the major league level because they don't have that much depth. So, that is very interesting to know that this Orioles team can still improve. And I say that not meaning in a bad way, but obviously they didn't make it far enough as they did want to obviously win a World Series. They didn't. They also didn't win their division, which just because you don't win the division doesn't mean you're not the best, doesn't mean you didn't do as well as you could, but that is one way to measure that. So, the team leaders on this Baltimore Orioles team did vary with some youngsters and with some older guys. So, base leaders, Cedric Mullins, as pretty usual. The rookie Colton Cowser led the team in strikeouts, while veteran Anthony Santander led the team home runs and RBIs, and then youngster Gunnar Henderson led the team in everything else. We just talked about how Gunnar Henderson pretty much led the team in everything, and how he's young, and how he's already at the top of most of his game, and there's a star-studded infield and outfield, and prospect tool. What else can he do? Well, he can reduce his strikeouts. He had 159 in 2024. Well, I guess he did technically improve that because he struck out 159 times in 2023, but in 9 more games. So 9 fewer games in 2024 with the same number of strikeouts, I guess he did improve. He also had 20 more walks in 2024, so again, he did improve there. So is there anything he can improve on? Well, he did make 25 errors in the field. So as good as he was at the plate, he had to be to make up for the runs that he probably gave away in the field. Another guy that seemed to regress after a monster sophomore season was catcher Adley Rutschman. Now, don't get me wrong. He is still one of the top 5 in all counting stats and definitely a great player behind the plate. Calling games, framing pitches, making few mistakes, few pass balls, all that good stuff. But setting a standard, people in the stands, people who play fantasy, coaches, teammates, they're going to expect you to do that every year. Same mistake Aaron Judge made in 17. He had 50-plus home runs. Everyone expects every year. Injuries happen. Some regression happens. But Rutschman set a gold standard by his standard and also by the Orioles standards. And so whether it is just 1 home run less or 100 points off his OPS, people notice it and say, oh, he did worse. Now, I'm not going to be that nitpicky, but I did want to point out that there was a little bit of, whew, man, this is a long season. This is my 3rd year doing so good behind the plate. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to move to 3rd automatically or start DHing more or playing first. No, I'm not saying that. But we're talking about stats. I'm not a metric guy, but again, 100 less OPS, that's from 800 down to 700. Average is 700. Adley Rutschman's not average. As we continue to throw around the term regression and talk about how players set certain standards and then fail to meet them, and sometimes continue to fail to meet them after multiple years and opportunities and chances and people overdrafting them and hoping to return back to former self, we have to talk about Cedric Mullins. Now, I had him in 2021. He was phenomenal. 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases, almost 300 batting average. It was 291. He also had almost a 900 OPS. He was great. And then it hit. What hit? I guess the regression. Now, he has maintained the stolen bases. He actually hit 32 this past year. So he's still producing there, but at a much lower batting average. He went from almost 300, again 291, down to 220, 230. I think he was hitting 240 at one point in time, so that's good, but man, you set a standard at 300, dude. He was the leadoff guy. If anything, maybe move him to the bottom of the lineup so he can kind of reset it. Now, personally, I don't like resetting the lineup. I like the idea of it, but the implementation usually doesn't happen because you have a leadoff guy for a reason. He is your table setter. if you put him at the bottom of the lineup, that's less at-bats he's going to get. He's not getting the at-bats to get on base. Now, if he could potentially do that in the ninth hole, get on base, steal a base, now he's in scoring position. That brings up what I like to call the big boppers, the absolute stud muffins of this lineup, the guys who can put the ball over Baltimore, which has moved in lately, but those guys are absolutely going to benefit if Mullins can do that. I don't see him being the leadoff guy for them, but he could be. Maybe he is going to get back to that level, and I don't have him in any other teams. Baltimore is a wall that was moved in, and that is absolutely going to help one person, mainly Ryan Mountcastle. One of the most popular statements Yahoo has made is that he has lost 11 home runs from Baltimore in 2014. That's definitely going to benefit him because, again, he is a first baseman. First basemen are known to be power hitters, and yes, some of them are a little more contact, Paul Goldschmidt back in the day, but for the most part, you want a big, strong, lumbering type of first baseman, and, well, Ryan Mountcastle is a strong, big guy. He's not huge, he's not Aaron Judge, but can't be many Aaron Judges. In any case, if Mountcastle can actually get those 11 home runs, that's going to give him even more. So he's already at double digits. So he's going to need 20, 25, maybe even 30, depending on how the summer goes. But also, he's going to get more runs, more RBIs. And that could very well propel the Orioles to be a first-place team in the AL East. Hopefully not, though. As we get to the pitching, the 2024 Orioles rotation was absolutely held together by reused Scotch tape and Band-Aids. They were absolutely gem, ace, front-loaded, few young guys, and then guys who were just underwhelming or forgot who they were and then turned back into a pumpkin midway through the year. Injuries absolutely decimated this team. There were so many pitchers that were on the IL to start the season, in the middle of the season, maybe multiple times, or just ended their year on the IL, was ridiculous. Not as bad as my Yankees, but injuries are injuries. Some of those guys include Dean Kramer, Tyler Bradish, Tyler Wells, Cole Irvin, Grayson Rodriguez, who may very well start 2025 on the IL as well, Zach Eflin, and John Means. I feel like John Means has been out for like 2 or 3 years now. Maybe the All-Star appearance and then dipped. Then we get to the guys who just underperformed. Kate Povich, while he was a rookie, did start 16 games, but he had a 5+ ERA. I don't care who you are, man, that's not good. And then they traded away Connor Norby and got Trevor Rogers. Now, we talked about Trevor Rogers a little bit when we talked about the Marlins. However, he's bad. Like, he is awful. He had one good season. I think it was like 2021, maybe 2022. He absolutely overperformed and still, if I remember correctly, had more losses than wins. He had like a sub-3 ERA and like a 1-2 whip, quite a few strikeouts, but that was his breakout year. And then fell off the face of the earth. It was awful. And the Orioles actually said, we want to give you one of our top guys, and you give us him. What? Well, there were quite a few disappointments. There was a huge surprise. Albert Suarez. This is only his 3rd year of Major League Baseball. But he's 35. Oh, and the last time he played in Major League Baseball was 2017. He started 24 games, appeared in 8 more for a total of 32. He won 9, pitched 133 innings, had 108 strikeouts, did have a 3.7 ERA and a 1.3 whip. Not the sexiest, but you've only played 3 years at Major League level. The last time you played at this Major League level was 7 years ago. That's not bad. He's also going to be trying to get a rotation spot this year. He could very well be the 6th man, could be a swing man. So he could be someone to add in your league if you have a cap on starts, and he's going to be the swing man if the Orioles decide to use a starter. As we finish with the starting pitcher, moving to the bullpen, and this is my favorite part because it's the strongest part. And keep in mind that is with a waning Craig Kimbrell. Craig Kimbrell did lead the team in saves, but he ended the year with a 5+ ERA. Someone I think could have absolutely taken over was Yanier Cano. Now, he wasn't as sexy as 2023. His ERA did raise a point, but he pitched some of the most significant innings for this team. He did have 30+ holds. He did appear in 70 games, and he did pitch 60 innings. Now, granted, that 1+ ERA did come in 12 less innings pitched, so that's some concern. but he still gets strikeouts above his innings pitched, and he has experience. Well, I do think that Yunior Cano is going to remain in a high leverage situation. For some reason, I get a feeling Sir Anthony Dominguez will be the 8th inning guy this year. Yunior Cano is a very, very strong 7th inning guy. So, again, this bullpen looking great. Now, the big cat coming off of Tommy John surgery is absolutely going to need some days off. So, he's not going to be as dominant as he was. But in those days off, Cano, Dominguez, maybe Soto, and Cionel Perez may also get shots. Now, Cionel Perez was also a very valid part of this bullpen. However, not as sharp, with a 4+ ERA and a 1.4 whip. That's not sexy, but he's got experience. He's played for World Series contending teams with the Cheaters down in Houston. So, again, he knows what it takes to be a high leverage guy. He probably won't with all the firepower that the Orioles have, but someone to at least keep in mind if you're in a holds league. Now, we just finished talking about the bullpen. Now let's talk about the departures, which we'll start with the bullpen. Craig Kimbrell. That's not the biggest loss because he was definitely going up in age and going down in performance. But some of the other big-time names they lost, absolutely Anthony Santander, with so much production at the DH, could play outfield as well, but obviously the bat was the main part. He was hitting 40, 50+ home runs. Okay, maybe not 50. He definitely hit 40+ home runs, but also leading the team in RBIs. That's a big miss from this team. They lost a big bat. They lost a big arm, too. Corbin Burns left to go to the desert. I think that's absolutely going to be a big loss for them because, again, he led them in everything. They lost a big bat in Santander, but they gained one in Tyler O'Neill. I do think he's going to have a big year. He did lead the Red Sox in home runs last year, so he's going to look to do the same in Baltimore. However, he might need a few more days off this year, and if he is hitting DH, who's going to fill a spot in the outfield? Well, former Cardinal teammate Dylan Carlson. The Orioles also signed him and another former Cardinal, Andrew Kittredge. Now, this year, he's going to start the year on the IL because of a knee injury, but he's going to be back, and he was the number 2 holds guy in the league last year. And then the Cardinals also had number 8, Jojo Romero. So the absolute best case scenario for the Orioles, they hold it together until Kittredge gets back, so they have an even stronger bullpen. Again, this bullpen is phenomenal. Get pieces of this. I don't care which one, just get pieces. Another sneaky move they made was bringing Gary Sanchez in. Now, Adley Rutschman, we talked about, did decline very briefly, but Gary Sanchez is absolutely going to be able to bring a little bit of pop. He has hit double-digit home runs in every year of his career, so the Orioles want to give him a chance to do that, and he definitely can with the Walls coming in for the Orioles in Baltimore, with the Baltimore Wall coming in just a tad bit. On the pitching side, they did bring in Charlie Morton, and they brought in Japanese pitcher Tomoyuki Sagano. I think this guy is going to do decent. He is a little older. I think he's like mid-30s, so may not be the sexiest name at first, but I think he'll do fine. I think he'll do better than the previous Japanese pitcher they brought in, but also how much notoriety was given to him, right? You don't even know who it was. Fujinaki, I believe. Having finished 4 teams in the AL East, you know what that means. We're going to be talking about the Yankees. I am super excited. We're going to be talking about how they're going to go back to the World Series, and how they're going to be the best team in the world, and how we continue to get hit so badly by the IL bug. This is Jake Aiken. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.